Joining me now, Peter Van Alphen, President and CEO at Nuvau Minerals. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
So, the company went public about a month ago. You've got this large land package in the Abitibi in Quebec. You've got an earn-in agreement with Glencore for the Matagami project. So, could you give us a snapshot of all of that?
Yeah, so we had the opportunity to take over the Matagami camp from Glencore. We started in the beginning of 2022, and as you mentioned, it's an earn-in agreement. It's a 3-year earn-in, and we're in our 3rd year of that. And so we're just about at the end of that, end of the first quarter of this year, we will have successfully completed the earn-in. And so then we'll own 100% of the property. And this is the Matagami mining camp. It's one of the largest base metal mining camps in Canada, 1,300 square kilometers, and it's a past producer. There's infrastructure on the property, so it's it has got incredible potential, exploration potential across this land package, plus then a real opportunity of getting a property into production in a low capex with low capital requirements.
Right. So that's one of the goals: get Matagami back into production. You want to develop Caber, and also to continue to explore to increase the size of the resource. So can you run us through those?
Yeah, it's I always describe Nuvau as being a mining company that is doing exploration. And what I mean by that is that I believe the big value that we'll get out of the property will come from exploration because it's so large. We've got multiple targets. Up in the northern part of the property, we've got over 80 geophysical targets that we've already identified. We've drilled one of them, Renaissance. We made a discovery there. We continue now to explore that to see whether there's a deposit there. So you've got all this exploration opportunity, but at the same time, we've got a resource on the property in all categories of almost 11 million tons. So that in the PEA we did translate it into about 9.5 years of mining. The capital that we've got invested in the property through the mill and the rest of the infrastructure that we take from Glencore, that's got to be worth $300 to $400 million worth of infrastructure we don't have to spend that we get there. So we've got resources, we've got infrastructure, we've got exploration opportunity. So the idea around getting the property back in production really goes hand in glove with the idea of exploring this property, that we're not constantly diluting shareholders, raising more money for exploration, but ultimately when we get it back into production, we're able to continue to feed this exploration potential. And so the objective is both a big push on exploration, because we believe that's where the future growth will come from in terms of resources, obviously, but then the benefit of doing that with the property, using the infrastructure that we've got, the supportive community. We're in Quebec, so that becomes a big part of being able to really drive the story forward on the back of production. So we're really doing both. Right now, the big focus is on exploration, but in the background, we're working on permitting and all other kinds of things to continue to sort of get the property in a place where we can get it into production, back into production.
Now, Peter, you have a lot of experience at the likes of Premier Gold Mines, Pan American, Lakeshore as well. So how do you parlay that experience, and how does that inform your approach in terms of leading this company and executing on the strategy?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate in my career here in Canada is to work with some of the sort of the big names in terms of junior mining, and on the operating side, in particular, the Lakeshore Gold, the FNX, those type of groups there, they took assets from the larger companies and were able to make them a real success. And so it's a different way of operating, right? That's what we bring to it. That's what I had the opportunity to learn at the feet of some of the guys, the Bill Shavers, the Tony Makuchas, those type of operators. And so that experience, I think, going into Premier Gold, is that we were able to sort out issues at Mercedes. It wasn't because we're smarter than anybody else. It's just the way that we end up working. And I think that's Glencore Zinc has been a great operator on that property. There's no fault in them for that, but we come with a different focus. And I think that gives us a unique opportunity here for that production piece, in that we believe that we can be successful there. But in particular, back to the Premier Gold, there's been a lot of success in that group in terms of exploration, developing the Hard Rock project, which is now being built by Equinox. Is those properties we've got that as well. So we really can put the two together in terms of that exploration success, company building, as well as from an operational point of view.
Now, as mentioned, the company went public about a month ago. Management and insiders hold about 23%, so a healthy stake there. Institutions about 50%. So how would you describe the shareholder base and the reaction so far on the market?
So in terms of the shareholder base, I think it's an important point to note is that, and we pride ourselves in this, is that 23% that management and board own has all been acquired at the same price as every other shareholder. There's no free stock in that, there's no penny stocks in that, is that everything was acquired together with shareholders. And so in terms of the rest of the shareholders, we're about 27%, probably 27% retail, 50% institutional, and we've got some significant shareholders coming in on the institutional side. We just added the case, for example, the CDPQ in Quebec. They were a third of our last financing. So we're seeing that success coming in terms of our larger institutional shareholders. I think in terms of us going public is that I think for a lot of people in our sphere, in terms of where we are as a junior company, coming to the public market, it's about being at these forums, right? Meeting the retail guys here. My first person I spoke to this morning, it's the first person he's ever spoken to about mining stock. He's never invested in a mining stock. And so it's those type of guys there, right? It's getting those their retail interests. So that's what we're looking. We need to bring buyers into the story, get them to understand the value that Nuvau can bring.
Right. And lastly, Peter, having said that, what is your 30-second elevator pitch?
Massive land package, probably one of the largest in the Abitibi, contiguous land packages. It is the host of 12 past mines, all on the eastern part of the property. It's huge. It's only had 5% of it drilled below 300 meters. It is underexplored in many areas. We've got multiple targets. I'm just talking base metal now. We've got infrastructure on the property, which is worth hundreds of millions of dollars that we're getting as part of this earning. And I think the piece there that we haven't touched on at all is that if you look at where the property sits, you've got Fenelon, you've got Detour Gold, you've got Casa Berardi, you've got Selby, all to the west of us. And this property, 1,300 square kilometers, 85 kilometers by 30 kilometers, has never had a focused gold exploration program on this property in the northern Abitibi. And so if there's one thing I think that certainly gets me excited is what's happening from a gold point of view, right? It's an unexplored piece of this property. The base metal, I'm confident we're going to find more VMS deposits there. We're in the right environment. It's been done before. But there's this opportunity for gold. That was more than 30 seconds.
No, that's fine. Really interesting information. Thanks for shedding some light on the company, and great to meet you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for the time.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Peter Van Alphen from Nuvau Minerals.